Hi everyone! Welcome back to the Book Nook. Hey, do you remember a while ago when I was invited to a storytelling festival? Well, it's coming up soon and I'm so excited. To get ready, I've been reading lots of folk tales, but some of the stories have tricky words like deceive and consequence. At first, I felt stuck. Have you ever read a story and come across a word you didn't know? What did you do? Well, I've been using context clues. It's helped me a lot. Let's learn about this strategy today. So, what are context clues? They're hints in the text that help us figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words, like secret messages hidden in the story to guide us. Hey, we learned about this strategy when we read about those jellyfish we saw at the zoo, remember? Sometimes the author gives a definition, using punctuation like commas, to show a definition is in a sentence. They might also use synonyms, words that mean the same thing, with signal words like known as, to show similar words are coming. And they may use antonyms, words that mean the opposite. We can also look for examples that explain tricky words or make inferences by reading between the lines. In some cases, authors may combine different context clues, like using both a synonym and an example to explain the same word. But are there any clues we may find that aren't text-based? Of course! Visuals! Pictures can also give us hints. Today, I've got a folktale called The Fox and the Crow. Let's read it and use context clues to figure out unfamiliar words. As we read, highlight words that you find confusing. I'll do the same. Keep in mind that yours may be different than mine, and that's okay. There are no right words you should identify. Everyone notices different words depending on what they find tricky or new. If we don't cover some words you've highlighted, you can use the same strategies later to explore them later on your own. Let's get started. One day, a sly fox, known for being clever and sneaky, wandered through the forest. He was ravenous, his stomach growling as he searched for food. Let's stop to look at the word sly. What context clues can we find? Look here. Known for being clever and sneaky. Did you spot a signal word there? The signal words known for show that synonyms will follow, so sly must mean clever and sneaky. Suddenly he spotted a crow clutching a morsel of cheese in her beak. It was nothing like the generous portion the fox desired, but it would help to quiet his hunger. Here's another tricky word, morsel. Look here. It was nothing like the generous portion the fox desired. Interesting. Instead of using a synonym as a hint, the author has used an antonym. Generous portion is the opposite of morsel, since the author tells us they are nothing alike. So what does morsel mean? A small piece of food, a snack, or a big meal? Pause here to decide. How'd you do? The answer is a small piece of food. Okay, back to the story. The fox's cunning mind quickly devised a plan. "Oh, magnificent crow," the fox began, his voice oozing with admiration. "Your feathers are so glossy, and your eyes sparkle like jewels. Surely your voice must be as beautiful as your appearance. Won't you sing for me?" Let's stop here. Two tricky words jumped out at me: cunning and magnificent. Now that you've had some practice, try finding context clues on your own. Can you see any words around cunning and magnificent that could be hints? Look for synonyms and antonyms, as well as definitions, examples, pictures. Oh, and remember how you can use your own background knowledge to figure it out. You know, Make an inference about what the word might mean. Pause here to underline the context clues. What did you underline? Let's check and figure out what the words mean together. For cunning, I'd underline quickly devised a plan. This shows the fox must be clever to come up with a plan quickly, but also sneaky because we know he's hungry, so we can predict his plan will probably involve taking the crow's cheese. So, by using what we know about the fox and the clues in the text, what does cunning mean? Well, we can infer it means clever and good at tricking others. What about magnificent? I'd underline, your feathers are so glossy and your eyes sparkle like jewels. These are examples that show what magnificent means. They're all about how beautiful the crow is. Aha, that's it. Magnificent here must mean beautiful. Let's read the rest of the story. The crow swelled with pride at the fox's lavish praise, especially his grand compliment about her beautiful singing voice. The crow opened her beak and let out a loud caw, causing the cheese to fall. The fox snatched it up immediately, his eyes gleaming with triumph. "Thank you, dear crow," he said mockingly. "You may be beautiful, but your vanity has cost you dearly. If only you didn't show off and think too highly of yourself." Realizing she had been tricked, the crow felt a wave of humiliation and regret. From that day on, she resolved to be more skeptical, no longer trusting compliments that seemed too good to be true. Wow, great story! Did you find any more tricky words? I highlighted lavish praise and vanity. Now it's time for you to work more independently. Look at lavish praise and vanity in the text and underline the parts that help explain what they mean. Then write a definition for each word based on the clues you find. Pause the video to do the activity. How'd it go? Let's look together, starting with lavish praise. First, I'd underline the crow swelled with pride before lavish praise. This tells me that the crow felt proud. So what can we infer about what the fox said to her? We can infer it was something really nice. What about after lavish praise? Look, especially his grand compliment about her beautiful singing voice. What does the word especially tell us about what's coming next? It shows us an example will follow. So based on all these clues, lavish praise means giving someone lots of over-the-top compliments. But this one's a bit tricky, so how can we be sure? I have a trick we can use to check. Swap the unfamiliar word for a synonym and see if it still makes sense. Let's try it. The crow swelled with pride at the fox's over-the-top compliments. Yes, that makes sense. Now what about vanity? Look at the phrase after. You showed off and thought too highly of yourself. The words "if only you didn't" suggest that what comes next is not a synonym, example, or definition of vanity. So what sort of clue could it be? The author describes the opposite of vanity. So if we remove the words "if only you didn't," then we can work out that vanity means showing off and thinking too highly of yourself. Wow! I feel way more confident about reading now. Using context clues has made us experts. Whether we find hints from definitions, synonyms, antonyms, examples, inferences, or even pictures, we're ready to figure out any tricky word. And hey, I'm sure there are some more unfamiliar words in the fox and the crow that you highlighted. So if you're up for another challenge, try figuring them out using context clues. I'm going to get back to preparing for the storytelling festival. See you next time, and remember, keep working on those goals. Hey, hey.